Hi everyone, blessed be. So I'm going to show you today how to make a Litha wreath, just to make, or you could just use it for any time of the year and obviously tailor it to the season. I've made this one for Litha to go on my altar space, and it's just a nice simple summery wreath that you can have hanging up on your altar or anywhere around your home. And first of all, what you need is a little rattan wreath base, which is one I've picked up here. They're like £4 from my local craft store, and I think you can order them online as well. So first things first, I got some ribbon. This is just some cheap bundles of ribbon that I got from Amazon ages ago. I bought this when I made the little mini maypole. And I'm just taking out the pink ribbon. Well, it's like a lilac-y colour. You can use the colours associated particularly with the season, or do your own thing like I did. I've just picked my favourite colours for this. Just make it like bright and colourful to represent the summer if you're doing a summer one. And as you've seen before, I've made like ones for winter and Halloween and stuff. So, you know, you can tailor it to whichever season you prefer. So first thing to do is to make a pentagram with the ribbon on the wreath base. It's easier to do this first than try and finagle it around all the decorations later on. So it's just a case of wrapping the ribbon around the wreath base and sticking it in the right place so you can make the pentagram. This did take me 2 tries to get it nice and even, and I found the easiest way to do it was to cut the ribbon into pieces and glue it on either end. That way you can get it nice and taut, you can get the ribbon untwisted, and you can also get it to stay in place. So this is my first attempt. It did take me 2 attempts to get it nice and even. You want like a fairly big pentagram, but you also want it sort of slightly off center so that when you stick the flowers on the side, on the left hand side, you can still see it properly. Depending on how you're making it, obviously if you wanted to fully decorate the wreath, just make sure it's in the center, but I wanted to do it where you just decorate one side. So as you can see, what I'm doing is tying off the ribbon and then stretching it across to where it needs to be, and I'll glue it into place. And then once you've got that in place, it'll look something like this. In the end, I just glued the pieces of ribbon on to hold it in place and hold it nice and taut. And then it's time to stick on the flowers. I used artificial flowers again, so I don't bring loads of allergens and asthma triggers into my room. And also it means I can reuse this next year. You could use real flowers, but they're not going to last very long. So if you want this to last throughout the whole season, then it's best to use artificial. And again, these are ones I picked up from my local craft store. And what I'm doing at the minute is just chopping the tops off, because I don't need the stalks for these. I just need the tops of the flowers and the little sections. I didn't use all these little leafy bits, but I can use the leafy bits in my miniatures when I make little fake plants for you know, miniatures and models that I make. So it's not going to go to waste, it'll be used for another project. And what I'm doing is using my little wire snips and my scissors, and I'm trimming the stalk down as close to the flower as I can. I quite like these ones, they look quite realistic, they look like the real flower. So pick ones that look really, really good and don't look too fake, and then it'll look nicer. So here I'm just trimming it off as close to the flower, the base of the flower, as I can, because obviously I want to be able to glue this on. And I'm not worrying about trying to thread the stem through the wreath base or anything. I'm just going to glue on the top. And I'm using hot glue because it sets nice and quick, it'll hold it in place. And also I have the option in the future, if I want to change this, I can take the flowers back off. So as you can see, it's cut, the flowers are cut right next to the head. If you find one flower keeps sort of wobbling around a bit, just put a little bit more glue on. And what I did with these is I picked my favourite colours. So there's this lovely lilac and magenta colour, and then I picked some blues and some purpley colours, and it's a case of just mixing them up and placing them where I wanted. And I also like these little mini ones that kind of look like daisy heads, because I do really like daisies as well, so I slotted those in between here and there. And again, it just takes a blob of glue on the base and then just hold it into place for a few seconds to give the glue a chance to adhere. And what you can do is you can just place these roughly next to the wreath if you're not sure how you want to organise the little flowers and everything and have a bit of a think, but I prefer to just go with it, and I will you know, try different things. What I do is I tend to hold the flower onto the wreath base, see if it looks how I want it to look, and if it does I stick it down. If not, I move it around. So as you can see here, I've got some blues as well, and I'm just popping the tops of those flowers off and sticking those in place. And this is like a nice little project you can do on a quiet sort of Saturday or Sunday morning. It doesn't take very long. This took me about half an hour in total. That's including, you know, getting all the materials out and waiting for my glue gun to warm up and everything. I really like the colour of this like mottled blue one, the blue and white one. It looks really pretty. I'm not sure what these flowers are, I can't remember, but they are really nice. And I do get some of these growing in my garden, so it was nice to find some flowers that look like ones that I've got in the garden as well. And as you can see, what I'm doing is I'm just focusing on decorating the one side of the wreath base. I like the look of it when half's decorated and then the other half is plain. You can of course decorate the whole thing and do the flowers all the way around. It just means buying a few more flowers. I just stuck with my little budget, which was £20 for this project. So it was like £4 for the wreath base. The ribbon I already had, and then the rest of the money I spent on the artificial flowers. And yeah, so it's a fairly cheap project as well. I've got projects that cost me a lot more than this, so this one's quite a cheap one for me. And it is nice to use stuff around the house if you've got it. Unfortunately, I used all my fake flowers. Well, I say unfortunately, I used all my fake flowers in another project, so I needed to buy some more. I find it's worth just spending that little bit extra on the artificial flowers so that they look more realistic. And these ones were like, it was like £3 for a bunch, something like that. And then you get like a couple of the big flowers and some little ones and some leafy bits in the bunch. So they're not mega expensive, but they are better quality than the ones you'd get in like the pound shop or something. Although saying that, you can get some quite nice ones sometimes. The ones that are like made out of that foamy material can be quite nice. So then once I've got the basic layout for the big flowers, it's then a case of working out where I want to put these little daisy type flowers and any other little bits in between. There was somewhere it was like a sort of daisy type of flower with the leaves around it. I don't know whether this one would represent what's the flower called? I can't think what the flower's called. It kind of looks like a daisy, but it's not. But I like it anyway, it looks pretty. The next one I stick on are these. I did trim the base because I find the petals curl up a lot on that one with the leaves on. So I did trim off some of the green base that holds the petals in place just to let them splay out a bit. And then here I'm looking to see where I want to put my little purple flowers. In the end, I separated those out and stuck them around in different places on the wreath. And then the last thing I did was there's some little purple, no, is it purpley ones? Some little flowers left that I was going to stick on in a bunch, and just to fill out and make it look like it's a nice thick layer of flowers on the wreath. So it just involved me gluing these from the back because it was a bit hard to reach and a bit fiddly. And I'm just deciding where I want to put them. I wanted to include them because I like the colour of these. It's like a nice little lilac-y purple, and it just fills up that space nicely. So it's just a case of adding some hot glue and then just holding them in place for a while to make sure that they stay where I want them to fill in that little gap. So I'm just holding it for a second and letting it cool, and then adding a bit more hot glue here and there just to make sure it's well stuck down, because I did manage to stick my fingers to it as well, so that pulled some of the hot glue off. Just be careful when the hot glue gun is fully heated up, because it does burn your fingers if the glue's on for too long. And then a little trick I learned is if you blow on the hot glue, it makes it set quicker, so then that way you can let go sooner. And when it's done, it looks like this. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Blessed be, and bye for now.